we stop overthinking? Overthinking is the result that you have been doing for so long, which in this case is that the indecision, every moment that you were able to make to get your life going to the way you want it to be, to feel good, to have the things that you want, but you letting that slip by every single day instead of picking things that are good for you, instead of thinking the thoughts that make you feel better, instead of going towards the things that make you feel good. You are not choosing that, but letting the emotion slip by or ignore it completely, so that now you are at the stage where overthinking is so dominant that you can no longer ignore, and because it's so loud within you that you can no longer bear the pain that was once just a negative emotion at one stage. Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel. So this is Maggie T fan, and I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in for another week where I will be helping you to elevate your life, understanding the law of attraction so that you can consciously applying it into your life rather than let law of attraction use you in your life. So one of the questions that I get asked when we are confused or needing to make a decision is, how do we stop overthinking? How do we get from confused to clarity? Overthinking is the result that you have been doing for so long, just like you putting the seed in the ground of overthinking. So in that seed, every single day, you are allowing the momentum of the seed to grow, which in this case is that the indecision, every moment that you were able to make to get your life going to the way you want it to be, to feel good, to have the things that you want, but you letting that slip by every single day instead of picking things that are good for you, instead of thinking the thoughts that make you feel better, instead of going towards the things that make you feel good. You are not choosing that, but letting the emotion slip by or ignore it completely, so that now you are at the stage where overthinking is so dominant that you can no longer ignore, and because it's so loud within you that you can no longer bear the pain that was once just a negative emotion at one stage. So clarity versus overthinking, which would you prefer? I would think that you would choose clarity. Am I correct? Well, who wouldn't? It's because clarity gives you that refreshment, gives you that resources that you know that everything is going to work out. You know which direction you're going to take. You know what steps you're going to do. You know what behaviors to perform to get the things that you want. But you can't do it from the place that not having it. You can't perform the action a clear person would perform. You can't offer the words that a clear person would have if you are now confused and overthinking. So if you have been going along through life for the last few months or the last few years, just sloppily in your thinking, not knowing about the way you feel and how to incorporate that into your life as your guidance system, it's because maybe you haven't been taught that way, right? Most of us haven't. Most of us have been conduced to perform these actions so you can get the thing that you want, so that I can give you this thing, like do this amount of action so that I can give you the pay. Or your parents would say, you need to do this housework so that I can give you money. Or you understand that if you perform some kind of action right then and there so that you can get that immediate result, which is the reward that you seek, or that validation that you know that that's going to evoke from the other person. However, that is going the backwards way. That is going about the wrong way. And that is the reason why you don't feel inspired. That is the reason why you feel confused all the time. That is the reason why you are overthinking, because you said, well, I thought that I was doing this action, I was going to feel better, but then I don't feel better, but I don't know how to stop all the things that I've been doing. So why do you expect that one decision that now you are going to take at crossroad is going to make you feel a whole lot better? That one action is just one action. A crossroad is not a crossroad. That's how you feel. A crossroad, now that you label a crossroad, the fork in the road, now you describe as big as the fork in the road, you actually have a vision of a fork in the road, is now that is a manifestation, the momentum, the result of the ever so lightly every single moment that you have a choice of choosing wanted or unwanted. Do I want to continue talking about this thing that I don't want, or do I not continue to talk about the things that I don't want? Those are the decisions that you make along the way that you ignored, and now it's so big that you actually call it a fork in the road, that you must choose one or the other. That's going to completely change the pathway that you are on. What happens in this physical life that we live in is that we seem to think that if we just make that one decision, if we just get the degree, then we're done. We think that as soon as we just do this one massive thing, that's going to solve all of our problems. But we are continuously evolving, so therefore problems will never go away. But when you understand and coming from the clear-minded, then you no longer think this is a problem that you need to solve. You understand that it is needed for your evolution of your soul being here in this life, of you are as an energy being, of you as source being, so that you are part of this universe that's expanding all the time. That is the reason why you don't look at these things as problem, but it's actually an opportunity, a much needed contrast for you to actually paint your canvas, paint your painting. You can't solve your problem from standing in the place of the problem, because it was your thinking that created the problem to start with. You see, life is like a buffet. Life is so much choices. It is so much easier if you have 10 choices to choose, so you know what you like and what you don't like. But it is overwhelming if now you are presented 10 millions of things that you like, because there is always an opposite intensity, which is there's 10 million things that you like, but there's also 10 million things that you don't like. So you feel in this overwhelming that you haven't really been able to pick at these 10 dishes, applying your choice into picking the 10 dishes, but you were too busy trying to push away the dishes that you didn't like and telling the chef to take away all the things that you didn't like. So then now when there's actually 10 million things in life that presented to you in this day and age, then it's going to be very overwhelming that now you look at all these 10 million things that you didn't like. You think that someone else is putting that into your life and messing with you, but it's not like that. So if now you understand the law of attraction, how it is the basis, the momentumizer, the underlying engine of momentum, then you have to understand and to really start really small in your life to be overthinking, which means that you have to start at a point of clarity. You have to stand where you are and find clarity. And that was the one thing that you didn't know how to do. And you just keep on depending the thing that comes to you to evoke the clear feeling from you, the clear thinking from you, but you can't. So wherever you are at the moment, to solve, to beat the overthinking, then you got to start very small. Which area in your life right now that you feel clear about? Which area in your life right now that you can say, you know what, I've actually made that decision and it was the best decision that I made? And can you actually go back and go via its trails and understand how did you come to that decision? Series of decisions or thinking allow you to have this now saying that I actually made the best decision of your life, because I guarantee that it was not the best decision. It was a series of things that you've made, and it was in your thinking that allowed you to keep that and actually see the manifestation as that decision that was the best decision that you made. So once you do that, then you can actually do it over and over and over and over and over again, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. But a lot of the times our problems lie is not in that thing done correctly. We are wanting to replicate that and to do it in different problems of our lives. So we are just now living into luck. We think that that person got lucky, or we think that I just got lucky that time. So those words are never supporting you. Those words are really leaving it to your life, your fate, into someone else's hand. But if you can start to understand it, you create your own reality. You can actually introspect what has done previously in the past that's working, that now you can apply it into your life, and what was not working and you stop doing that. So why do you want to make that one big decision to relieve that feeling of overthinking? Because you think that when you make that decision at this point of time that you're at the crossroad, that if you made the right choice, then you are going to feel better, right? But here's the thing. If you have been feeling overwhelmed all those times. And now that you're here, if you need this action to remedy the past actions that you've done, then you are not getting the point. Okay, because wherever you are, there's always a solution and a problem. And if you have been feeling overwhelmed all the time, and if you have been seeing your life as a problem, then now that you go into the next phase of your life, or that into the next situation, you are going to be presented with another set of contrasting experience. And you are not going to use that as a bouncing point to leap into something else that's more magnificent. But now you are also dwelling in the fact that now that you have another set of problems to overcome. So if you have been feeling overwhelmed and you are here right now and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this decision is so overwhelming and I'm overthinking it, there's the pros and the cons, and you just keep on evaluating that way, then when you are going to make that decision, because the energy that was created, that decision that you are about to make, is going to bring forth and create another set of problem, just like the way that you felt. It comes in a different form, but your feeling going to be the same way. And over time, that's going to keep going, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until you really can't ignore it anymore. So I'm going to tell you my own story of what I've discovered in my insight over the week. This is actually what I live for. I live for the aha moments. I live for the insights, because it makes my life so delicious. It makes my life to say that I always look forward to see what's unfolding, and how I actually have my own hand in my own clay that I actually created this. So this was actually come to me as an insight, and now this is why I'm talking about the topic today. So over the week, I picked up the idea of 7 months. Okay, the photo came up on my Facebook was me in 2015 when I first had my haircut from all the way down long here, and then I had black hair before. And the first time I had a haircut, not into this look, but into just a style where one short and one long. So one side of my hair was actually longer. So it was actually in a style, not where before it was always trimmed and I'm making it shorter, but the style has always remained the same. So that was the first time I made the decision to cut my hair into a style that I wanted. I knew that in the past I didn't want to cut my hair, is because I didn't want to have to deal with the fact that I have to keep maintaining my hair, and I just want one thing or one decision to change my whole hair outlook forever on. Now that I know that everything takes maintenance, so my hair will be my first step that I did gone towards. So I made the decision to cut my hair. I said, when someone cut their hair, something has dramatically changed in their lives. And straight away that day, it was a day of, I could never forget. Things have gone really badly within my life, and I was no longer talking to my father because something really big happened that day. I had a very narrow-minded mindset where I couldn't see any further than what was happening in front of me. All these problems was in front of me. My life was chaos. I kept telling everybody that. So I came from the place that I wanted to prove my dad of what he did, and said, I set forth that I'm gonna go on and prove to him that I am worthy. So the photo was 2015, and now it's only 2021. I don't know why I said it was 7 years ago. I was so adamant at that time when I sent a message to my hairdresser that it was 7 years ago. And then what happened is that when I went to yoga that day, I told my friend at yoga that this was 7 months ago. And again, I didn't know that I was saying these things. However, when I came home and I meditated, I realized that I kept saying this 7 months or 7 years. But then I looked at the time, and it was actually 6 years only. The whole day thinking it was 7 years, but it's actually only 6 years. And I went home and I knew that was something, that it was a message for me. So I picked up the sign. So I started to look back at my life and saw the trail of thought that I was thinking, and it led me to what I was going to do next 7 months after that. So 7 months after that, we bought a place. It was our dream home, and it was way out of our budget. We reached to every corner of our income and source of money to purchase this place on a mortgage, but we knew that we were running on thin ice. And I haven't remembered this moment for a very long time, but I remember when I started looking back during the week, that when I purchased that house, I felt so sick. This overwhelming feeling, it was all over me. It was so intense that I was actually in bed sick for 3 days. And I went on with my life anyway, because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how to remedy my thinking or whatever. And I was just hoping, fingers crossed, that decision was going to work out. Long story short, we moved into that place, and obviously the amount of stress was building up because the energy that I was carrying forward. I thought that when I buy this dream home, that was one of my goals. So that only lasted for about a year, and then we had to sell it because I was reaching breaking point. And that was, again, just to show to me now that the energy that I carry forward, thinking that this action is going to lead me to something better, it wasn't, because I was carrying all these baggages with me. And because I attract wherever I go, now that I know, then this is the reason why we couldn't keep that house. And now looking back, like if I made some different choices, we would still be living there and life would have been just as delicious as it is now. So when I sold my place, I quit my job. But before I did that, not luckily, but this is what I'm always used to say. So when I was moving into that house, I really felt like I need to make a change. And obviously other things, more intense things were happening. And so then I think that was the first time that I wanted to live from my heart. That was the first time when I wanted to say, what is it that I wanted, right? Because I felt that when I had that house, I was done. I didn't have any more goals. That was all I was striving for, is a house, a family, and a bunch of properties or whatever. And I got there, I was really, really young. I didn't know what else to do in my life. So that's when I really started to say, okay, what can I create now? But I wanted to do it loving it and not stressing it and hating it, because that was how I felt towards my job as I was getting promoted. So that's when I started to look into the mind, and I started to understand how things work and so on. That is long lasting. So when I sold the house, I didn't feel as stressed as I used to when I bought the place. I knew that I was stepping into something that I'm gonna love, okay? There was heaps of adjustments and everything in the way I think, but this is what I'm saying to you, is that what I realized over the weekend, that 3 days that I was in bed, I completely forgot about, but it brought me back, and just to kind of give me the vast contrast that what I was living to where I am right now, and how the thinking that got me to buying the place, and it didn't last because it was coming from a negative energy, the energy of I'm not enough and I need to perform this action in order to change all the circumstances and to prove to other people and yada yada yada. Until now, whatever I do is from the place of love, the place of I want to do because I want to do it, no matter what people say, no matter if I get the approval or not, because I do it because I'm in alignment with what I want, in alignment with myself, and I feel good about doing it, so that no matter what happens, I know that the physical reality is going to conform to the way that I think and feel inside. So now I don't look at my feelings as, oh, it's just a feeling. I take it as every moment that I feel it. That's how it comes through as, okay? It comes through as a very soft guidance that if you are, thinking this way, or if you are about to tell your friend about a story that doesn't make you feel good, but you go on anyway, you are perpetuating what you don't like. And then when it comes to manifested reality, when it comes to that, now one situation you think that, oh no, that person is making me feel like, no, they didn't. You attracted that person into your life now in physical form to confirm the way you feel all along, okay? And now you're blaming that circumstance, you're blaming that person that they caused you to feel this way, but it was you all along, that the guidance system is telling you that you're going the wrong way, you're not going to like what you see, and you ignore, you say, oh, it's just my feelings, my feelings don't matter, and you keep doing it because at that moment in time the stake wasn't high enough. It was just, oh, a negative feeling, oh, it's bad, should I say it? You say it anyway, things like that, okay? It's very, very small, and it leads to a big manifestation. Like I said, a manifestation is the last fruit that happens on the tree. So when you see it, you know that it's been momentum coming all along all those times already. Your job is to nurture your thoughts. Your job is to allow, to provide the environment so that the right thoughts come into your mind, which is the condition, the environment, so that when it's the right environment for the snow to become a snow, right? Because everything is in the air. For yourself, then that means that you have to get into the right state, your attitude and everything, so that you can receive the right thoughts, and then that over time that thought will pick up its momentum as everything else is. Then the actions that you take from it will be inspired from within. It will be inspired from the good thoughts that you have. So you know that these actions that you take from these good thoughts is going to turn out something good, because the actions are always the extension of your thoughts. So if you have been feeling overwhelming and you don't know where to start to get clarity, like I said, you got to start very small. What is it in your life right now that get you into that mood? So clarity, what does it feel? Does it feel good or bad? Obviously it feels good. So you don't need clarity to feel good. Does that make sense? It's too specific for you at this stage if you are not there. What you want is that you want to do everything and adjusting your attitudes to only focus on the things that right now are working, that are in your life right now, that gives you that confidence or gives you that feeling of beauty or love, or something that will evoke the feeling from you. And you would say, oh Maggie, but that's conditional. Okay, Maggie, that's relying on the outside again. Well, that could be a start. I mean, if you are so used to seeing to believe it, then maybe you can start seeing and believing that there's only good in this world. And because now that you're only looking at the good things in this life, then you understand that that's where your focus is, so that more is going to bring to you. Okay, so you can start there. It's a very softer way of starting, because if I tell you now to start with your thoughts, you're going to go, oh my God, I can't think. And I can't say these new stories or whatever, because you have been practicing telling the story that you don't want to for so long. So you think that you've been telling people historical events. You think that you're telling people that this is your past life, but you're not. You're actually creating your reality in the future by retelling the old story of what didn't work. And then that's keep on perpetuating and creating the reality that matches the story you told. So if you don't want that to repeat in your future, you got to stop telling that story. You have to start telling the story that you want it to be. And you got to start very, very small. You got to really now focus on the things that are working in your life right now. What is it? Do you know? Every place that you look, every part of this universe, every person that you see, there's going to be unwanted and wanted. But if you haven't been focusing on their wanted, then you are going to think that the whole world is dishing up to you a whole lot of things that you don't like. And that is true. Where and why you are now overthinking, you can reverse engineer the circumstances, then you can actually get to the place that you want. So in this case, if you want clarity so you make better decisions, then every single moment you will have to be aware that what decision you're making right now, the decision that you're deciding right now, having whether to have the same conversation with your friend again when they bring up the topic, are you going to engage in a topic to always talking and repeating your life, or when they start complaining and talking about something went wrong in their life, you then just smile and walk away, or you just don't engage. Very little decision that you're going to make every single day, every single moment that you're aware of. And the more conscious that you are making of the unconscious pattern that you made, that you have been carrying all your life, that people call it subconscious, it's not really subconscious. You are actively recalibrate yourself, and you are now creating a new life that looks as pretty much as the same as your old life. So you have to be aware, and you have to understand that the law of attraction is always at work, that it's never idle, so that whenever you are engaging or whenever you're telling your old story, you need to really stop and think, is this what I wanted to continue? And then after that, when you start mastering what comes out of your mouth, then you start to now working with your thoughts, and then now you can choose deliberately, catching it early so that it doesn't build momentum and get into the spiral of all the negative events that's going to happen in your life in the future. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. This was very short. I just wanted to keep it really short and straight to the point so that you get going. Remember, clarity and overthinking, okay? Clarity versus overthinking. What do you prefer, right? Every moment in time you get to choose, because every moment in time you are the attractor. You are the calibrator of energy. You are creating your energy. It's the accumulation of over many thousands of moments. You start to see the indicators that's going to happen in your life, and then you know that everything you want is going to come, because now you are a deliberate master of your destiny. Think purposely, speak on purpose, and watch your life will naturally transform. Love you guys and have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Mwah!